Hey guys, Dennis here, Muddy Water Search and Recovery, and I want to do a recap of the Alex Vandalsen case. Let's start with, this isn't our typical kind of case that we work on, as this is no longer a missing persons case. He did go missing, but he was quickly found, and where the question remains on what happened to Alex Vandalsen is you have the official story of what happened, and then you have the evidence and the proof that tells a whole different story. So I do want to start off with an apology here. This case is another case that hit us in the heart, and it's a case that the court system continuously fails this family and continuously fails Alex Vandalsen by not looking at the facts, just one person say so of what they say happened, and not the physical evidence. If they would look at the physical evidence, they would know better. So you may hear me vent some on here, so I do apologize for that right off the bat. But let's jump into this. I'm also probably going to shotgun around on some of the information here, so bear with me. So let's get into this. Alex Vandalsen was 21 years old from Lafayette, Indiana. Alex is transgender. He was 85 to 90 pounds, 5 foot tall. He was last seen leaving his home on foot around 11:45 p.m. on February 3rd. His body was found and recovered on February 9th. Volunteers had searched a 5-mile radius of where he was last seen. A person who was plowing snow saw an indention in the snow and a pair of boots sticking out of the snow. The snowplow driver went to investigate and found the body of Alex Vandalsen deceased. He was covered in a layer of snow. This snow is significant, and we will get to that here shortly. Snowplow driver immediately called law enforcement. They did find a firearm on the scene, but they did not find a shell casing. That includes the use of a metal detector, and no shell casing was found. So let's stop right here a minute. And I said the snow would be relevant. Alex Vandalsen, the official cause of death was ruled self-inflict. And he had a PP shot one side of the temple, straight out the other side. There's snow on the ground. His body is covered in a layer of snow. I have seen the crime scene photographs and body cam videos. The very first thing I noticed right off the bat was there was no blood splatter. In the snow, that is going to be very visible. So no blood splatter, no bullet casing. Alex did have asthma and required an inhaler, and his body was found 10 miles from home, and he was dressed in layers. The weapon came back as not being reported lost or stolen. There is no reports of an ownership trace actually being done on that specific firearm. Alex's mother believes that his body looked like it had been posed. Looking at the crime scene photos and the body cam footage, I agree with that. In fact, on the body cam footage, the responding officers, you can clearly hear them say, "There's no blood splatter. Look at how the body is. This scene has been staged." That is on the body cam videos. For the longest time, his mom was denied access to those body cam videos. I will tell you, I've read all the police reports. I've read the autopsy reports. I've read all of this. Reports from responding officers, reports from the detective who took this over, and all of a sudden it went from a staged scene to immediately on the scene saying this is self-inflict. Let's jump ahead a little bit and go to the autopsy report. The autopsy report gives the sizes and dimensions of the entrance and exit wound. First off, they had their entrance and exit wounds based off the sizes reversed in the report. Second off, the size of the entry and the size of the exit is consistent with the .45 caliber. The firearm found on the scene that was underneath his elbow, underneath his arm, underneath his elbow in the snow, partially frozen to his side. How it got there? But that firearm was a 9mm. Anybody who knows anything about firearms knows the size of a 9mm round and the size of a .45 caliber round are significantly different. I guess the judge there doesn't know that. Maybe he needs to do some research so he could adequately rule behind the bench. Now, the detective has used different things from Alex's past to try to prove his theory correct. Alex had previously had suicidal thoughts, but he had a lot of help to get through this. We're talking professional help. He sought professional help on his own will, and he worked his way through that. He had a strong support system between his mom, his girlfriend. Now, Alex's family, the mom that he lived with and stepdad, they did check their gun safe and determined all of their firearms were accounted for, meaning none of their firearms were missing. His mother believes that because he had self-harm thoughts in the past, that was why this is just written off as self-harm. The handle of the firearm was located under the right elbow of Alex. The gun was frozen to the hip stomach area along with the arm. If this is self-inflict, could you please tell me how that firearm is going to end up completely under the elbow, pressed up against the body in a self-harm case? We done reenactment videos where we tried to prove the official story to be true. We could not force the results to match the official story. It was completely the opposite. We've spoken with firearm instructors. We've spoken with medical professionals. Nothing in law enforcement, well, I take that back. Nothing in the detective's report or the autopsy report are even close to what the professionals have told us we would see. In fact, we've had some flat out say the person who did that report lied. I support law enforcement 110%. I believe 99+% of law enforcement are good, honest people who took that job not for the money, not for the recognition, but because they want to make a positive difference for their communities. Then you have a case like this, that less than 1% that's out there. I want to stop here. Please do not judge all law enforcement officials based on the actions of a very, very small minority. I promise you they're not all like that. Most of them are not like that. The ones that are, why your fellow officers haven't done something about it, is beyond me. But not every officer is like that. So please don't ever feel that way. Now, Alex Vandalsen had weak wrists. Normally wore wrist braces. When he would ride a four-wheeler, he struggled to pull the clutch lever with his left hand. He had weakness in his left hand due to some previous injuries. And yet somehow this round passed straight through one temple and out the other. With a weak wrist, very small frame Alex had. And this is the story they're sticking to. Another interesting point, I mentioned that Alex Vandalsen had asthma. He actually needed an inhaler. He was unable to walk around the block without using his inhaler. Yet his body ends up 10 miles away from home, and his inhaler is at home in the house. If he can't walk around the block without an inhaler, how did he make it 10 miles in the wintertime, freezing cold with it snowing? That cold is going to make it even harder to breathe. How is that possible? I will tell you, it's not. And again, I'm going to apologize. You're going to hear me vent a lot in this video. I've got a lot of information that I'm not going to share publicly. I wish I could, but with his mother continuing to fight for justice and for answers, I don't want to say or do anything that could jeopardize that. I will say this, on the autopsy report, there were no bullet fragments found inside of his head. That tells me that this was not a hollow point or something along those lines. It was most likely a target load. Even those do mushroom a bit on impact, leaving a larger exit hole than an entrance hole. And again, after many reenactments, we cannot replicate a scenario that fit with the reports made by the detective or the doctor who performed the autopsy. We do have a video that we did a long time ago at this point. It is here on YouTube, where we actually videoed some of our reenactments and shared them with you guys. There is no chance at all of this official story being accurate. And it's not just us in our reenactment, but the professionals that we spoke with, we didn't even tell them our findings and our thoughts. We just asked them, would you look at this and tell us what you think? Unsurprisingly, they told us exactly what we believe we already found out. Alex Vandalsen was murdered. And please forgive me here too. I'm going through all of my notes to share anything with you guys that I can. His mother continues to fight to go through the court system to get an actual investigation done in this case. Many times it seems that they're finally going to do it. They're finally going to look for the truth. Just for at the last moment, they shut it down. You would think they would want the truth. And again, crime scene photo, absolutely no blood splatter. So please bear with me while I go through this. And again, this isn't the typical type of case we would work on. But when we looked at this and started going through it, there's no way we cannot help. Okay, this has to do with cell phone. It's very interesting stuff too. Detail report. Alex Vandalsen's birth name is Jasmine. We've had comments on some of our videos on his case before. Why do you call him him? She was born a female. I'm just calling him what his mom did. At this point, it doesn't matter if it's Alex, if it's Jasmine, if it's male, if it's female. What matters here is this is an individual whose life was wiped out way too soon, and the truth isn't even being hidden. The truth is something they don't even want to find. And again, I'm talking about a detective and I'm talking about a judge. I pray nobody's family ever has to go through this. But it makes me wonder if it was, unfortunately, if it was one of their family members, would they still be turning a blind eye and not wanting the truth? Or would they be overturning every rock they could find to get the truth and to get justice? So I made a disclaimer on law enforcement. 99+% of law enforcement are good, honest people trying to make a decent change and a decent impact, a good impact in their communities. 99% of judges are the same way. Good, honest people trying to keep our streets safe. Then you get one like this. So please don't judge all judges based on this particular judge. I don't know if this is a federal judge. That's something I should try to confirm with Alex's mother. If it is, then there needs to be some awareness locally brought up for the next time elections come up, and get that person out from behind the bench and put in somebody who is going to seek justice, who is going to hunt for the truth. And again, I apologize. I'm going to vent a lot here. And Alex's mother isn't just a grieving mother. She also has a bachelor's degree in criminology. So her findings on this isn't just that of a grieving mother. She has the education to back up what she is finding. And that knowledge made her question the entry and exit wounds, their sizes, etc., that we were able to prove they were wrong about. I will tell you this. I am convinced it was a 45 caliber, not a 9mm. There is an individual there who knew Alex, who carried a 45 caliber, who after Alex went missing and then was found, people have reported never seeing that 45 caliber again. Yet nobody in power has thought to look at that. And I understand, you're going to need more than somebody just saying something that is legally considered hearsay. And, that's not even circumstantial. That's just hearsay. So, much as I don't like to admit it, that actually could be why. We will be doing another video on this case soon, and we will go over the autopsy reports with you. We will also go over the detective's reports with you and share anything that we can without causing a conflict of interest or hindering his mother's efforts of getting to the truth. Oh, so many notes here. And again, I apologize going through these. I was just planning on doing basic information. Once I got going, I just kept going. Now, Alex's mother and stepfather was at work when Alex went missing. He left with no wallet, no car, no phone, basically nothing but the clothes he was wearing, and he was dressed in layers. It was freezing outside with nearly a foot of snow on the ground. Alex's mother and stepdad returned home from work around 2 a.m. and went to bed. Alex's car was in the driveway, so they just assumed he was sleeping. The next morning, February 4th, 2021, when she looked into Alex's room, he was not there. So she assumed his girlfriend had picked him up. She would frequently pick up Alex leaving his car at home. So it all seemed normal till his girlfriend come to the house because she'd been unable to reach Alex Vandalsen. At this point, Alex's mom is back at work again, but she left work and went home and began to search for him and called 911 at approximately 10:03 p.m. that evening. They said they'd send an officer. She had to call back close to 11:30 to 11:45 p.m. because they hadn't responded. Why they didn't respond, I don't know. So I don't want to speculate with that. But considering the other shortcomings in this case. Yeah, this stuff here, I will have to go through and see what we can share publicly and then do a part 2 on this with you guys. So guys, I know I shotgunned all over the place with this tonight. And I know many of you, with this, we're talking, Joanne Conger, we're talking Mac Randall Jr., Catfish. Many of you have seen multiple videos and live feeds we've done in regards to this case, including the reenactments. So please tell me what your thoughts are on this case. And if you have any ideas or suggestions of what we can be doing or Alex's family can be doing to help them find the truth and get justice, please reach out and let us know. The best way to do that would be to go to our website, mwsar.com, and contact us through there. We want to help his mother. Jennifer is his mother's name. We want to help Jennifer find the truth and get justice for Alex. I can't imagine what that family has been through. I haven't spoken with Jennifer in quite some time. We had spoken quite a bit in the past. Sweet family, sweet people. They deserve answers, they deserve the truth, and they deserve justice. Let us know what you think about in this case, and we will be bringing out a part 2 on this within the next week or two. So, guys, with that, until next time, you guys stay safe. Let's do everything we can to help this